You sit in the bleachers back row, sun in your eyes, sweat soaking the collar of the one decent shirt you could afford this month. It's stiff with starch, a last-minute rush job at a discount cleaner, and you can still feel the edge of the price tag you ripped off that morning. Everyone around you seems to know the rules, when to stand, when to cheer, when to wave those tiny American flags like they mean more than just decoration. You hold yours a little awkwardly half-folded in your lap, unsure if you're even allowed to belong here. The loudspeaker crackles and they begin calling names. Rows of young officers stand tall, sunlight glinting off polished brass, each uniform pressed so tightly, you swear they could stand up without the person inside. Parents in the stands erupt into applause with each name called. Mothers wipe tears, fathers thump chests and raise phones, siblings scream out inside jokes from childhood. You sit in silence, not because you aren't proud, not because you don't want to scream her name from the roof of this whole damn base, but because you know, no matter how far you've come, there's a part of you still stunned that you made it here at all. You grip your knees. You remember the nights you cried on the floor because you didn't know how to be both mom and dad. You remember the peanut butter dinners, the part-time jobs that bled into full-time exhaustion, the way your own family told you. You're holding her back while they smiled from behind glass windows and two-income lives. But she kept going. You kept going. And now your daughter stands front and center, chin high, eyes steady. When they call her name, your hands tremble. Second Lieutenant Hannah Rhodes. You feel the words land in your chest like a thunderclap. No one cheers. No one except you. You rise, slowly clap once, then again louder than you thought your hands could be. No one joins in. Doesn't matter. You clap because no one else will. Because no one else knows the full weight of that moment, of that name, of what it took to get her here. A man 2 rows down glances back at you confused. Maybe he's wondering where your entourage is. Maybe he's wondering if you're lost. But you're not lost. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. You just aren't dressed for it. You look around at the sea of tailored suits, pearls, and pressed khakis. Your outfit thrift store slack scuffed shoes, and a weather-worn purse stands out like a coffee stain on white linen. Still, your daughter doesn't look for them. She finds you. Across the crowd, her eyes land on yours, and there's this flash, just a flicker, but enough to undo the years of being called the family's wasted potential. That's what your sister once said, remember. Imagine what she could have done if she had real support. And by real, she meant not you. You swallow hard. They didn't come. Not her aunts, not your parents, not one of the cousins who posted their children's spelling bee wins like Olympic gold. They didn't even ask for the live stream link. Probably assumed she'd never make it past basic. Your daughter holds her salute for the full count, then steps forward for her pinning. Another officer helps affix the rank on her collar, but she does something subtle, slides her hand into her pocket, and presses something small. You know what it is. The old watch you gave her when she left, broken taped, barely ticking. It was yours once from before all this, before the divorce, before the collapse, before the family group chat voted silently to move on without you. You never expected them to cheer. But you didn't expect them to forget either. Now sitting here while everyone else takes selfies and hugs and streams the moment on Instagram, you stay still. You just watch. You don't need the photo, you have the memory. And when the ceremony ends and the crowd floods the parade ground, you rise and begin walking. Not toward her yet, just through the blur of polished shoes and practiced joy. A woman beside you dabs at her eyes with a lace-trimmed handkerchief. So proud of our boy, she says to no one in particular. You nod politely. She doesn't ask who you're here for. No one ever does. But that's okay. Because when your daughter spots you, really sees you, she does something that cuts straight through the clamor. She runs. Not walks, not strides. She runs. Right into your arms. And suddenly you're not in the bleachers anymore. You're at the kitchen table teaching her how to balance a checkbook. You're holding her hair back while she sobs over the college rejection that crushed her. You're staying up all night to finish her FAFSA paperwork after she passed out from exhaustion. You're there in all the invisible moments. You're the reason she's here, even if no one else clapped. The smell of shoe polish and fresh-cut grass lingers in the air as you walk back to the parking lot with her. Her uniform's crisp, her posture sharp, but her face soft, glowing. That glow you only get when you've done something impossible and there's someone there to see it, too. She doesn't say much at first. Neither do you. The quiet between you is full, not awkward. It's the kind of silence that only exists between two people who fought the same war, just in different trenches. When she finally speaks, it's with a grin. "Did you see me almost drop the pin?" she says, laughing. "I swear I could feel my hands shaking from here." You smile, you hit it well. She sighs, swings her bag over her shoulder, and pauses by your car, the one with the cracked bumper and the faded Be Kind sticker peeling from the corner of the rear window. The only car in the lot that looks like it belongs to someone who's still climbing. She turns to you. "I was scared you wouldn't come." You blink. "What, why?" She shrugs. "I didn't want to ask. You always show up, but I know they make it hard for you." They, not named, not needed, you both know who. You glance across the parking lot. A woman in pearls hugs her son, while a dad in a blazer records everything on a tripod. Someone else hands out little American flag pins with the family name etched on them. You've got no pins, no banners, just grit. And your daughter. You both get in the car? She folds her uniform jacket over her lap carefully, the same way you used to fold her blanket at daycare drop-off. She was 4 when your family first started calling you a lost cause. You remember because it was the year your sister bought her second house and your brother finally got into law school. You were still waiting tables. Still saying just for now about everything. Your mom used to tilt her head and ask, "So, are you still doing that restaurant thing like you were moonlighting as a clown?" Your dad didn't say much at all, just pursed his lips like fatherhood was a grade he had to give you, and you'd earned a C minus. You drive in silence for a few minutes, then she breaks it. "You know, I got an email from Grandma last week." You raise an eyebrow, but keep your eyes on the road. "She said she was proud of me. Said she knew I'd rise above the chaos." You don't ask what chaos means. You already know. It's the code word they use when they want to blame you without saying your name. You want to say something biting. You want to roll your eyes and call it out. But you don't. You just exhale slowly and say, "Did you reply?" She nods. "I said thanks." That's it. Smart girl. The hotel is nothing fancy. You book the cheapest one close to base, no frills, but clean. You open the door and immediately notice the faint smell of lemon cleaner and tired carpet. She tosses her bag on the bed, kicks off her shoes, and flops down with a sigh. The military might own her time now, but tonight, she's yours. You heat up leftover takeout, split a microwaved brownie from the vending machine, and sit on opposite beds watching old sitcom reruns like it's still senior year and she's stressing over physics. She looks over at you between bites. Do you think they're ever going to get it? You know exactly what she means. The family, the judgment, the silent treatment dressed as dignity. You shake your head. They don't want to get it. If they did, they'd have to admit they were wrong. She nods, lips pressed into a line. They said I'd fail you ad, and it comes out without permission, like something that's been sitting in your throat for years. She turns to you. They were wrong. And then softer, you didn't fail. You led. You laugh a sharp, startled breath. Led what a one-woman circus act? She smiles. No, you led me, and I outranked half the class. She doesn't say it like a joke. She says it like a fact. And in that moment, something in you shifts. Because you've spent so many years defending, explaining, absorbing shame that didn't belong to you. And here sitting across from your daughter, the same girl they said you'd ruin, you finally see what they never could. You didn't raise a survivor. You raised a soldier. And that was never failure. That was strategy. You wake the next morning to the sound of boots hitting the floor. Your daughter's already half-dressed in her base fatigues, hair pulled tight, checking her schedule on her phone with the same intensity you once saw in her 10-year-old eyes as she tried to fix a flat tire on her bike. You blink awake, hair a mess, mascara smudged from last night's half-hearted attempt at self-care. She catches your eye and smiles. Sorry, didn't mean to wake the general. You sit up slowly. General's off duty today. She chuckles and starts gathering her things. She's got morning duty, but she says she'll be done by noon. There's a little reception later if you want to come. Nothing fancy. Just coffee and awkward small talk. You nod. I'll be there. Wouldn't miss it. She leaves with a quick hug and the scent of peppermint on her collar. You sit there in the quiet, the hotel TV blinking soft morning news headlines across the screen, and something about the silence feels different. It's not loneliness. It's peace. You scroll your phone. No new messages from your family. Not even a lazy congrats to Hannah in the family group chat. Not even a reaction emoji to the photo you sent last night, just your daughter and you side by side smiling under a flagpole. You want to feel disappointed, but you don't. You order a black coffee downstairs, eat a complimentary stale muffin, and take a walk near the base. You pass by other parents' dads with proud chest-puffed walks, moms in smart cardigans talking loudly about their children's rankings. No one notices you. But then a voice cuts through. Ma'am. You turn. A tall man in a crisp uniform approaches, face familiar from the stage yesterday, your daughter's commanding officer. His ribbons could fill a book. His salute is precise, sharp. You blink. He doesn't lower his hand. Then carefully he says, "You're her mother." You nod. He drops the salute and shakes your hand with both of his. I just wanted to say it all makes sense now. You laugh, unsure. What is... He smiles warmly. The way she leads, the discipline, the heart, the absolute refusal to quit. We don't always get that in new officers. It has to come from somewhere. You try to reply, but your throat's thick. You manage a quiet, "Thank you." He studies you for a second longer. She talks about you. Not just like a mom, like you're the reason she's standing here. You want to shrink, hide, deflect, but instead you hold his gaze. Then he adds with something bordering on reverence, "So, are you the general?" It hits like a wave. You don't even answer. You just smile. Because you don't need to confirm it. He's already seen it. When the reception starts, you sit near the back as usual. The room's full of soft clinks and polite claps. Parents smile too wide. Officers chat about deployments and duty stations. You sip your coffee and try to blend in. Your daughter finds you again after. Her cheeks flushed. "I heard he talked to you." You nod. He said you have grit. She shrugs. Told him I got it from someone. The grin you wear then is unhideable. Not proud in the loud way. Proud in the quiet, steady way that wraps itself around your ribs and settles there. That night she drops you off at the airport. You hug longer than usual. She slips something into your hand before you walk away. Don't open it until you're home. You nod, heart heavier than your suitcase. The plane ride is uneventful. Your row's empty. You sip soda and think about every version of you that got her to this point. The broke version, the burnt-out version, the sleepless version who cried in the car after every school drop-off. When you get home, you peel off your shoes, turn on a single lamp, and finally open your hand. It's a pin, a custom-made rank insignia. On the back engraved, "For the general who led quietly." You sit down still holding it, letting the truth of it sink in. They said you failed, but her commander saluted you. And somehow, that makes more sense than anything else ever has. You keep the pin on your nightstand right next to the lamp you once knocked over mid-breakdown. Back then, it felt like the world was collapsing in layers: bills, job loss, judgment, a sick kid with no backup, and a family that offered little more than shame, masked as advice. Now the lamp's steady. So are you. The next morning, you post the pin on your private social, just a single photo with the caption, "Turns out you don't need applause to be a leader." The likes come in slowly, a couple of coworkers, a college roommate you haven't spoken to in years, but not your family. Not even a silent heart emoji from your mom. The family group chat stays dead quiet until your cousin chimes in. "Wait, Hannah's a commissioned officer." You blink. You assumed they knew. You'd sent the photo, the message, the text 2 weeks ago with the invite. Maybe they didn't ignore you. Maybe they never even opened it. The responses trickle in like reluctant confessions. "I didn't see that. Didn't realize it was official. We thought she didn't finish basic." And there it is. That subtle aching disbelief they've always had in you. The default setting that says if you're involved, it probably failed. You scroll, you wait, you know what's next. Your mother. "We would have loved to come if we'd known it was real." You almost laugh. As if your daughter's commissioning is a scam. As if you forged the rank. You don't reply. Instead, you post one more photo, just a candid of you, and Hannah laughing outside the base cafeteria, her cap tilted, your head thrown back in a laugh. No filter, no caption, just the image. Real. Undeniable. Your brother sends a separate message later that night. "Guess you got lucky." You feel your stomach twist, not from pain, but from clarity. You know now that nothing you ever do will shift his narrative. He needs you to be the failure, the cautionary tale, the sibling who proves that settling down and playing safe is the only acceptable path. You almost feel sorry for him, because you were never lucky. You were relentless. Hannah texts you later that night. Did I start a fire in the family chat? You send back, just a light burn. Nothing we can't walk away from. And she sends one word in return. Copy. The military speak makes you laugh. You remember when she used to say 10-4 as a kid after you asked her to pick up her toys. Now she says copy when discussing emotional fires. Progress. You go to work the next day feeling something close to untouchable. Not invincible, but certain. You hold your head differently. You say no without apology when someone asks you to take on more than your plate can hold. You get lunch with a friend who once pitied you out loud. The kind of pity wrapped in passive comments like, "You're so strong," followed by a pitying head tilt. This time she says, "I saw your post, she's amazing." And you smile. But this time it's not self-deprecating. You don't say she got that from her dad's side like you used to. You don't minimize it. You nod. She is, and I raised her. You go home, open your fridge, and eat leftovers straight from the container. Not because you're too tired, but because you've earned the right to rest without apologizing. Later that week, a package arrives from the base. It's a framed photo from the commissioning ceremony. You're off-center in the shot. Not even the focal point. But your daughter is mid-salute, and behind her, your face is just visible in the crowd. Watching. Always watching. You hang it by the front door. You wonder if they'll notice when they visit. Then you realize they probably won't be invited. A week passes, then two. You hear nothing from your family. No call, no sorry we missed it. Just static like their shame needs time to spin itself into dignity again. You've seen this cycle before. First silence, then revision. It always ends with them pretending none of it happened. You're ready this time. It's a Friday evening when the group chat finally pings again. Your cousin, the same one who used to post Bible quotes after shading you in real life, drops a message. Would love to get everyone together this weekend. Celebrate the general and her soldier. It's a joke, obviously. The quotation marks sting. Like your moment, your life is a punchline now. You stare at it for a while, then see your brother type, LOL, can she bring the pin? Your phone becomes unbearably hot in your hand. Then your mom replies, I think that would be lovely. Let's do brunch Sunday. Hannah deserves some family pride. Now she's proud. After years of silence, of muttering under her breath, of calling your parenting dramatic. Now that a decorated stranger has saluted you, now she wants pancakes and photo ops. You consider ignoring it, but something inside you settles, cold, clear. You tap out a message. We already celebrated, just us. She said it was perfect. You watch the little dots blink, then vanish. No one responds. You leave the chat, not in a blaze of glory. No long rant, no mic drop, just gone. You delete their numbers too. Not out of anger, out of necessity. Because your piece is not a group project. That weekend, you and Hannah go hiking, a new trail. She's in off-duty clothes, no insignia, no polish. Just a girl who used to draw blueprints of rocket ships on the back of your utility bills and ask what past due meant. At the summit, she leans on a rock and pulls out a thermos. Still tastes like gas station coffee, she jokes, passing it to you. You sip. Still better than the stuff I drank in the ER waiting room when you had strep, and I couldn't afford both the antibiotics and the Uber home. She winces. I hated that night. You shake your head, I don't. You mean it, because that night you taught her what it means to show up, scared, broke, exhausted, and still stay. That night, like so many others, you didn't flinch. You led. Now she does too. You both sit quietly looking over the valley. The wind shifts. It smells like pine and possibility. She turns to you. You know, some of my friends think you're made up. You raise an eyebrow. They don't get how I got through so much without falling apart. They think I'm just naturally resilient. You nudge her boot with yours. You are. She smiles. But I tell them the truth. I tell them my mom didn't raise me to survive. She raised me to command. You close your eyes for a second. Let the words wrap around your chest like armor. When you open them, the light's golden, brushing her cheekbones, glinting off her hair. For a flash, you see the baby she used to be the one who cried until she hiccuped, who needed your heartbeat to sleep. Now she's steady, and she still stands by your side. That night at home, you pass by the hall mirror and catch your reflection. It's not glamorous. Your shirt's wrinkled. You've got laugh lines, stretch marks, a tired shoulder that clicks when you stretch too fast. But for the first time in decades, you look at yourself and think, yeah, I'd follow her into battle. The next Monday, the silence doesn't bother you. It doesn't claw at your spine like it used to, begging for closure for some scrap of acknowledgement. There's no part of you replaying what they said or what you wish you'd said back. That part, the one that used to tremble beneath every word they threw, has gone quiet. You make coffee, fold laundry, start a grocery list. Simple things, mundane things. But they feel different now. Like you're finally living your life from the inside out, not performing it for someone else's approval. At work, you have a conversation with your manager about a project you want to lead. 2 months ago, you'd have second-guessed yourself, softened the pitch, lowered your voice. Today, you sit straighter. You speak clearly. He listens. He says yes. Afterward, you step outside and check your phone out of habit. There's a text from your mother. Saw the post. Your brother's upset you left the group chat. We're family. You can't just disappear. You read it twice, then a third time. And then you finally let yourself say what you've been holding in your chest for too long. Watch me. But you don't send that. You just lock your phone and slide it back into your purse like a stone you're no longer willing to carry. That night, Hannah calls. Her voice is tired but steady. She talks about her first official report, how her commanding officer nodded in approval but didn't smile. I think that means I didn't mess it up, she says, laughing. You tell her you're proud. She pauses, then says, I found an apartment near base. Tiny, but mine. There's a breath between you. You know what this means. It's the next step. You sit with it. Then you say send pictures. Because this is what you've been raising her for, not to stay close, but to walk boldly. After the call, you find yourself pacing the living room. The old carpet muffles your steps, but your thoughts race. She's flying now, and for the first time, you're not scared she'll fall. You're just adjusting to the quiet she leaves behind. You open your desk drawer, the one you used to keep all the bills, the sticky notes of things you couldn't forget. You pull out the envelope she gave you with the plaque. Still unopened, you realize. You open it now. Inside is a handwritten letter. The first sentence punches the air from your lungs. Mom, if I ever forget to say it, I owe everything to your silence and your thunder. You sit down. You read every word twice, 3 times. It's not long, but it says more than your family ever did. She remembers the nights you ate last, the way you sat beside her when she failed without fixing or judging, how you made every hard decision look like instinct. She ends it with, if I'm the soldier, you're the standard. I carry you into every room I enter. You close your eyes. You let it all in. The good, the grief, the growth. Later, when you're curled on the couch with a blanket and a cup of tea, you scroll through your phone and see that your mom has posted a picture of your brother's birthday cake. The caption says, "So proud of my son, our family's true legacy." You stare at it, then you close the app, because legacies don't live in captions. They live in quiet rooms and handwritten letters, in the steady breath of a woman who stayed. When no one clapped, who led without a map, who raised a daughter the world now salutes. And if that isn't a legacy, what is a month passes? You don't mark it on the calendar, but your body knows. There's a shift in how your mornings feel lighter, like your shoulders finally believe the weight is gone. One Saturday, you find yourself wandering through a small thrift market, the kind of place you used to avoid because everything reminded you of what you couldn't afford. Today, it just feels like a maze of possibility. You pause at a wooden desk tucked into a corner. It's chipped along the side and missing a drawer pull, but it feels solid, like something that won't fall apart under pressure. You buy it. You bring it home, rearrange your small office, and set the desk beside the window where the afternoon light pours in. You don't know what you're going to do with it yet. But that doesn't matter. Because now, for the first time in years, you're not just surviving. You're building. That evening, you start pulling out the box of old paperwork, stuff you used to hoard out of habit forms, warnings, overdue notices, letters from the school system implying you weren't quite enough. You shred every last one. You keep only a few things. The drawing Hannah made when she was 6, you in a superhero cape, her hand in yours, the words, "My mom is the bravest," written in crayon. A photo of the two of you sleeping on the same hospital bed during her pneumonia scare. The plaque. And her letter. You tuck them into a clean folder. Label it proof. Not for anyone else. Just for you, for the days you forget. The next morning, your neighbor drops by. She's holding a flyer and wearing a hopeful smile. We're organizing a mentorship program for teen girls. Thought you might want to be part of it. You blink, me. She laughs, yes, you. Don't act surprised. You look at the flyer. Saturday sessions, leadership workshops, quiet guidance for kids who don't quite fit in anywhere yet. It hits something deep. I'll think about it, you say, but you already know. Later, you sit at your new desk and open your laptop. You start writing not anything grand, just a document titled, How to Be the First to Believe. You don't know what it will become. Maybe nothing. Maybe a workshop. Maybe something your daughter reads one day when she's tired and doubting herself. But for now, it's enough to write the words you never heard growing up. You are not too much. You are not too late. You are not invisible. You're halfway through typing when your phone buzzes. A number you recognize, your aunt. You hesitate. You let it ring out. Then a message arrives. I saw the post, that plaque, that moment. It made me cry. I'm sorry I never said anything before. You stare at it, not because it hurts, but because you don't feel anything at all. You write back, thank you. That moment wasn't for anyone else. It was ours. She replies once more. You led her through the fire, and you came out gold. You don't respond, not because you're angry, but because there's nothing left to prove. The next day, Hannah texts, guess who got moved into a new leadership track? You grin. You reply with one word. Copy. She follows with a photo her boots on a new floor, a view from her room, and her new office plaque. Under her name, one line, lead from the front. You run your hand over the edge of your desk and whisper to yourself, she is. And you know exactly where she learned it. You're in the middle of planting rosemary in the kitchen window box when the doorbell rings. You wipe your hands on your jeans, brush back hair with a streak of dirt across your cheek, and open the door to find your mother standing there. Not calling, not texting, not asking permission. Just standing on your porch like she didn't spend the last year convincing herself you were nothing more than a cautionary tale. She holds a gift bag, white, wrinkled, generic. Her eyes flick past your shoulder into the house, like she's still trying to figure out if your life is real or just something you staged out of spite. You step onto the porch, close the door behind you. She clears her throat. I was nearby. You don't respond. She holds out the bag. It's for Hannah, a little something. Tell her congrats. You take it because it's easier than a scene. Inside is a journal, faux leather, unused. Price tag still on. You try not to laugh. She fidgets. You don't call. You look her in the eye. You don't listen. She blinks like you slapped her. There's a long silence. Then she says quietly, I saw the photo. The one with her commander. I didn't realize what that meant. I didn't know they'd salute you. You nod. They did. She fumbles. Well, that's not how we were raised, you know. Giving credit like that, you just do what's expected. You almost pity her, almost. That's the difference, you say. I didn't do what was expected. I did what was necessary. She exhales, looks down at the journal like it might rescue her. I didn't mean to make you feel like a failure, she says. You cross your arms. You didn't make me feel like a failure. You just told me I was. She winces. For once, she doesn't deny it. You don't invite her in. You let her stand in the discomfort she's never been made to hold. She hands you the bag like it weighs more than it should, and she leaves. No hug, no apology that fits the damage, but also no anger from you, just clarity. Later that night, Hannah calls. She's glowing. Tells you about a speech she's been asked to give. Something for new recruits. They said I've got presence, she says, half laughing. You grin. You do. You've always had it. She pauses. I used part of your story in my draft. You blink. My story. Yeah, she says. How you didn't have backup but still showed up anyway. How you led without a title. I figured they need to hear that more than they need strategy diagrams. You can't speak for a second. Then I'm proud of you. I know, she says softly. And you realize it's not new. This pride. It's been there since the beginning. Through every scraped knee, every missed holiday dinner, every voicemail that went unanswered by the family you kept trying to impress. You finally stopped trying. Now you just lead. At the end of the call, she asks, what should I end the speech with? You think for a moment, then say, tell them the person you admire most never got applause. She laughs, too dramatic. Maybe you admit, but it's true. That night, you light a candle on your windowsill. The rosemary smells strong, earthy. You open your daughter's old journal, one from when she was 13, full of sketches and wild dreams, and you add a line to the last page. They said you'd fail. You said watch me, and you did. The speech goes viral. Not immediately, not with fireworks, but slowly shared from one officer to another, from base to base, from new recruit to seasoned commander. Clips make it onto social media and then into inboxes. You watch it sitting at your desk, fingers curled around a lukewarm cup of tea. Your own breath caught somewhere between pride and disbelief. She's standing behind a podium in her dress blues, not reading, speaking. Her voice steady, calm cutting. She talks about leadership, not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that never stops showing up. She doesn't name you, but you feel yourself in every word. I learned how to lead from someone who had nothing and still gave everything. She didn't hold rank, but she held me. And when I thought I couldn't keep going, she looked me in the eye and said, "You already are." You don't cry when she says it. You cry when the room applauds, because they're not clapping for her alone. They're clapping for the invisible hand that raised her. Later that night, your cousin sends you the link. No commentary, just the video. You reply, "I've already seen it." They type, then delete, and you realize that moment isn't yours to share with them. It's sacred, between you and the journey, between you and every night you stayed up Googling how to fix a busted water heater while your daughter studied flashcards next to you. The news travels. Your inbox fills with old names, classmates, ex-colleagues, even an old neighbor who once offered to babysit, then ghosted you when she found out you couldn't pay. "I always knew you had something special." "Wow, your daughter is amazing. You must be so proud. Looks like you proved everyone wrong." But the one that sticks is the shortest. From your father, a text with 2 words, "Well done." You stare at it like it's a puzzle. You don't reply, because you know what he means is, "You surprise me." But you're no longer interested in surprising people who never looked closely enough to begin with. You tell Hannah the next day. She rolls her eyes. "Took them long enough." You laugh. "I'm not looking for their approval anymore." She grins. "Good, 'cause you got mine." You watch the video again a few nights later. Not for the views, not for the praise, just to hear the cadence of her voice. Calm, unshaken, certain. You remember when she stuttered reading aloud in the 3rd grade? How the teacher said she might not develop confidence naturally. You want to send that teacher the clip. You don't. You just let yourself sit with the reality that you weren't the problem. You were the solution. That weekend, you walk past a bookstore and notice a flyer in the window. Voices that Raise Leaders open mic night. You walk in, sign up without hesitation. When the night comes, you stand in front of a small, mismatched crowd. Nothing fancy, no cameras, no medals. You read a short essay about raising someone in a house too small for both dreams and doubt, about learning how to love loudly when the world wanted you quiet, about being called too emotional and then too distant, and realizing you were just enough the entire time. The room claps. You bow your head slightly, and when you step outside into the night air, the street lamp catches the silver edges of something in your coat pocket. The pin. You carry it not for show but for memory, for proof, for power. A car drives by, window down, music trailing behind. You walk home slowly, unbothered, unburdened, unmistakably free. You get the postcard on a Tuesday. It's bent at one corner, the ink slightly smudged. No envelope, just the naked vulnerability of handwriting scrawled across the back of a photo of tulips. You recognize the script immediately. Your mother. The card reads, "Watched her speech. You did good. I didn't know how to say it before. I'm learning. I hope that matters. Love, Mom." You place it on the kitchen counter beside your mug. You don't touch it again for 3 days. Not because it hurts, but because you're no longer in a rush to receive what should have always been given freely. When you do finally hold it, you notice the back says, "Printed in Holland," in tiny lettering. The tulips look like they were photographed on a cloudy day. A little imperfect, a little beautiful. You keep it, not for reconciliation, but for closure. A few weeks later, you attend Hannah's promotion ceremony. It's smaller, this time on base inside a rec hall. No grandstands or flags waving. Just a podium, a few seats, and the people who matter. You're seated up front this time by her request. She calls your name when it's time to step up. You hesitate more from muscle memory than doubt, and then you rise. Your hands don't shake. You walk to the stage and pin the new insignia on her collar yourself. The room claps, a little louder this time. People see you now. Afterward, her commanding officer shakes your hand again. This time, he doesn't ask who you are. He already knows. You leave early. Not because you're tired, but because this win doesn't need to be paraded. It's settled deep now, quiet and grounded. When you get home, you change into pajamas, make tea, and curl up with an old blanket. The plaque sits on the bookshelf. The photo hangs by the door. The pin rests on the desk beside a new stack of writing essays, reflections pages you're finally brave enough to share. You check your email. One new message from a woman across the country. She read your open letter online. She writes, "I didn't think I was doing enough. Then I read your story. I think I'm doing better than I gave myself credit for. Thank you." You respond, "You are. Keep going. You're not invisible." Later that night, Hannah texts from her new quarters. "Miss you. Proud of you. And yes, I still have the fox blanket." You smile, close your eyes, and let the quiet hold you. You're not waiting for the next crisis or apology or recognition. You're not a story someone else tells anymore. You are the author now. You turn off the light, sink into the silence, and know without needing to prove a thing that every step you took, no matter how heavy, led here. Led her. Led you. And if you're still awake, that's okay too. Some nights just lying still and breathing softly is enough to return home to yourself. The house is quiet again. Not the kind of silence that aches, but the kind that settles. That tells you the fires are out, the doors are locked, and no one's coming to take your peace from you tonight. You breathe slowly, the kind of breath you used to save for when no one was watching. Now it comes easier, like your lungs finally believe they're allowed to rest. You think of her, your daughter, out there somewhere standing tall, leading others with a voice she once used to whisper bedtime questions. And now she commands rooms. She makes decisions with a spine she built, watching you bend and not break. You're no longer haunted by who didn't clap, who didn't call, who never said they were proud, because you built something they couldn't see. A legacy of showing up, of staying, of raising someone the world now salutes. You're not loud. You never were. But quiet leadership leaves echoes that last longer than applause. And that echo now lives in every room she enters, every sentence she says with confidence, every boundary she holds without shame. You don't need medals. You don't need closure. You already have the only thing you ever needed, proof that love steady and unshaken can shape a life. So lie back now. Let your thoughts drift like clouds beyond the ceiling. Let your heartbeat slow to the rhythm of a life you lived bravely. You led her. You led yourself. And you never needed anyone else's permission to win. And if you're still awake, that's okay too. Some nights just lying still and breathing softly is enough to return home to yourself.